I actually started gardening when I was very, very young, probably like 3 years old, and then I had always gardened all of my life, and I've always just gardened organically. I've always been in it just ever since I can remember. So it was just basically making compost and that kind of thing, very early age. My father was Native American, and basically my parents were migrant farmers. So they traveled around and harvested and stuff. And so we ended up in Buckeye, Arizona, because I think basically that's where the car broke down. So they worked on farms, and we all worked on farms. And I actually started working on a farm when I was about 9 years old, picking cotton by hand. If you can even fathom what that's like, it's kind of a rough job. But even later on, you would they do what they call chopping cotton, which is just weeding the cotton. And when the cotton, the crop dusters came out to the field, you weren't allowed to leave the field or anything at the time, so they actually just blew all kinds of stuff all over you all the time. Pesticides, whatever they were spraying on the field was basically, no, mostly it was pesticides at that time. What they actually put on it was what they called a sticker agent, so that's what makes whatever it is adhere to the plant, but it also adheres to people too. The consequences of it is, of course, it gives you different types of cancer and stuff. And I will tell you that even myself, I've had to have stuff burned off of my legs because you go through the field and the plants have all that agent on them, plus the poison, so it sticks to you too. So you go to the end of the field when you're done, and your pants legs would be wet, and it's just basically from the poison and stuff. I was aware of some things. Wasn't aware of everything because I was kind of small. And then part of it is the farmers at the time say this is okay, and because then the farmers say it's okay because the government says it's okay. So we don't use any chemicals for anything. We're basically just use things like green manures, which is making a crop like oats or something, and then tilling it in, or black-eyed peas, buckwheat, something like that. Or we make compost. We do the Itoy onion, a lot, the Itoy onion. It was kind of a favorite of mine. Long time ago, an agent at the county extension office gave me like 3 or 4 of these little bulbs, and I planted those, and today we just have millions and millions of the onions. They're actually very beloved because they'll grow about 10 or 11 months out of the year, and they're multiplying type onions. So you take one of them, put it in the ground, and we've had them make up to like over 200 onions from one. They're very prolific. They taste kind of between a green onion and a shallot. There's actually a lot of people that actually prefer it. It grows extremely well. We do some things like the old native squashes, the kushas, things like that. That's kind of a winter squash. So the thing that makes them not so favorable with a lot of people is it's big. So if you have a 20 or a 30-pound squash or something like that, people don't really know what to. Yeah. So you just have to figure it out. We have a lot of recipes on our website for a lot of the squashes and stuff. And basically, one of the things with the kusha squash is it makes a really nice pumpkin pie. It makes a better pumpkin pie than pumpkin stew. We do a lot of the nopales too, yeah. So those are really nice, and those are good for people who have like diabetes. They're good for your skin, your hair, and a lot of things like that. So it kind of evens your blood sugar. We do have eggs. We have chickens. So we've already sold out our eggs for today, but we do have eggs. We have some duck eggs too. Most everything at this time of the year is grown here now. We do have the CSA. We have CSA that operates here out of Gilbert, and we have one in Tucson. Well, I would just say something about the CSA in general. One of the things about the CSA is it would introduce you to something that you probably haven't had before. A lot of people, when they go to the store, they pick up about 5 different things, which is going to be like, potatoes, onions, carrots, lettuce. But they're not really introduced to things like dandelion, arugula, rutabaga, and the list will go on and on. But if you get it in your CSA share, then because you paid for it, you go, wow, I'm going to try to do something with this. And then I think the big thing is people are always finding new favorites that they haven't had before. The main featured items, because there's a little bit of a layover right now from some of the late fall stuff into the winter, will be like leaf crops, so all types of leaf crops and root crops and the cruciferous crops, which is cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, all of that stuff. So at the height, we'll have probably about 140 different types of greens. We have citrus. Yeah, we just barely begin citrus now. Like navels, and then we have like the Arizona sweets and lemons and grapefruits. A few tangelos. Basically, the whole idea behind organic farming is just basically being a steward of the land.